Game Chat with Bwana.
Welcome to Game Chat with Bwana, your source for gaming news and reviews. Now, here's Bwana McCall.
This is Game Chat with Bwana. Game Chat with Bwana. Episode 56 of Game Chat with Bwana. It is here. It is here. Game Chat with Bwana is here. This is at live.bwana.tv and at twitch.tv/Bwana. We do this here every Monday night about 6 p.m. But we're late again because Bwana had work. Work takes precedence over Game Chat. It's a terrible thing, but Dad has got to bring home the bacon and the eggs. Oh, my wife cooked some pancakes the other day, and they were, pancakes. Ooh, boy. Should have a game chat with pancakes. That'd be awesome right there. But this Game Chat Bwana today is April 23rd, 2012, and we do this here at live.bwana.tv and at twitch.tv/Bwana every Monday night. We talk about the last 7 days of gaming news, but this week's is kind of truncated. It's a little bit truncated, and because we did last Game Chat on Thursday, because I had to work like a whole bunch last week, and kind of had to do a lot today too. But we're here at Game Chat. Blah, 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 blah. Game Chat with blah, blah, blah. But what we do here, Game Chat, we talk about the last 7 days, and we talk about the best news. But you guys augment my stories because I don't always find the best stuff. Go over to our forums at bwana.tv/forums and sign up. You guys can post stories on the link that we have reserved for this particular show. You go over to the bwana.tv section near the bottom. You'll see a thread open called Game Chat with Bwana episode 56 links. You can post some stories that I already haven't posted. You get two chances to impress the Bwana.tv crowd. If you doth not impress, we will chop off your toes and serve them. No, we won't. But we'll think about it hard. And then we end the show with Title Time. Title Time is when we come up with a snazzy title that will hopefully fit the wittiness of this show, because we're witty here at Game Chat with Bwana. Like we have donuts and pancakes and wit. If wit were a dish, it'd be bacon. I said it. Game Chat with Bwana episode 56 coming at you right now. Let's do this, y'all.
Game Chat with Bwana would not be possible without the support of our corporate partners: Twitch TV, Wirecast, YouTube, and 123 Systems. Thank you all for your support of Game Chat with Bwana.
Alrighty, let's get over here to this story thing here. We're going to talk about Game Chat with Bwana episode dirt. Sony is in the news. And last week we talked about Sony and how they were firing everybody, laying off a huge chunk of their workforce. And we were like, Sony makes TVs? Yeah, they make TVs. And, Sony gets a bad rap, as some of it is deserved, some of it isn't, but they get a bad rap. One of the things they get a bad rep for is their constant battle against PSP hackers. Guys, you may remember that PSP system. It's that little handheld system that Sony made that a lot of you bought and probably don't play with anymore. But a lot of people bought the PSP and they hacked it. They had what was called homebrew. And it wasn't any type of beer. That's a video. You gotta watch the Iron Chef America Reddit. It's funny. You had to be there. It's not a brew. It is homebrew. It is a hack, and it allows you to play custom games. And, people put emulators on there, kind of like akin to a jailbreak on an iPhone, if you can think about it in that regard. So another hack came out for the PS Vita, and very similar to how a lot of these things start. An application or some sort of an exploit opens up a hole, and the hackers jump through this hole with all their limbs and then they just have a field day. So you may see You may have seen some titles in the past. I think when the PS1 got hacked back in the day, there was like a couple of games that put the PS1 in a certain state to where you could hack it and play burned copies of games. That was like the birth of a lot of PS1 hacks. So this was a very similar thing that was happening with the PS Vita. It was let's see, a couple games, Hot Shot Tennis and Motorstorm Arctic Rift, basically opened up these holes to get hacks, and people were putting Doom and Homebrew and all kinds of stuff on their PS Vitas. But Sony has patched it. Vita version 1.67 closed off that ability, and looks like we're back to that whole fight again. And man, those of you who lived it know it was an ugly fight. And if it's going to go back and forth again, I don't know. Sony may need the good press or the bad press or any press at all. But I don't know if they could I don't know if they can afford this, given that they're firing like a lot of people. And their financial woes as well. I mean, it's a lot of things going on at Sony that we haven't talked about here. Game Chat with Bwana. But the platform is great. I mean, I like the PS Vita. I like what it offers. I don't have one, but I kind of briefly played with one. It was very pleasing to the eyes. The games they offer sound enticing. I haven't played any, but I'll play it. I'll be happy to play it. I prefer if I were to get a handheld device, I would get a PS Vita over a DS. I can't do stylus. I don't know why. I got this mental block. But a lot of you buy DSs, and there's this heated debate between DSs versus Vitas. But check this story out, guys. This is over on joystick.com. They got the details about the patch, the latest thing to restore some of that non-hackery on the on the PS Vita platform. It has since been patched, so you can check that out over there. Now, speaking of the Sony PS, Amazon is having a fire sale. So if you got a PS3 and you've been looking to buy some games, now might be the time to head over to Amazon.com. This was posted on the 22nd, so these may actually still be there. 22nd was yesterday. 25% price cut on the PlayStation Vita title Army Corps. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Enslaved is 50% off. That game got ripped in the reviews, but I thought it was pretty good. $10. Wow, very cheap. Infamous 2, 20% off at $31.99. That's a good price. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, $32. Ratchet and Clank, $24. Mod Nation Racers, $18. Come on, man. You got to get Mod Nation Racers. That's a lot of fun. Duke Nukem Forever is $10. Who knew? Red Faction Armageddon, way down there at $15. Tron Evolution, Motorstorm Apocalypse, Deus Ex Human Revolution is $28. If you're going to get anything off of this list, Deus Ex should stand out because that is definitely worth 28 buckaroos. I was hoping that that Infamous 2 would be cheaper than what it actually is, but $30, you can't argue with that price. So that's a lot of sales on some PS3 games. If you guys are a PS3 owner, head over to Amazon.com. You can follow this link at PlayStationLifestyle.net. There's a lot of sales going on. PS3 games clearance. Check it out, guys. PlayStationLifestyle.net has the details.
Game Chat with Bwana is recorded live before a worldwide audience every Monday night. You can participate by suggesting news stories. Just register an account in our forums at bwana.tv/forums.
Squeaky chair, squeaky. Squeak chair, squeak. Okay. Let's clear our throat. Because this past weekend, we were graced with the Diablo 3 beta, which went public this past weekend. Bwana landed himself a copy of this because it was open to everybody. You could have went to Blizzard's site and downloaded it. All you needed was a Battle.net account. Diablo 3 beta. Now, I had seen all types of gameplay of the closed beta. People were allowed to stream it like a few months ago, and I pretty much had seen almost everything in terms of from a viewer standpoint. And people complained that it was short. They said, okay, it's a really short game. I mean, you can only do so much. You can only level up so high. There's not a whole lot in the act. And I was like, all right, that's cool. Closed beta. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. The open beta is what they called it. I think that was the actual name, was an open beta, because it was open to everybody. I gotta look at the official name, open beta. So I downloaded. I was like, all right, let's check this game out. I had no idea it was gonna be the exact same experience as those previous closed betas. When I heard the term open beta, I thought it was gonna be more content. So I was left with a sour taste in my mouth when I finished the game in 30 minutes. I was like, oh, well, that's it. And I had a really sour taste in my mouth, and I immediately fired up Path of Exile and played for 9 hours straight. Uh, I had some haters come to the stream. They were like, "Oh, how could you say Diablo is anything Diablo bad is just wrong? You can't say that Diablo is bad. There's no such thing as sentence with bad Diablo." Yeah. Well, I think this was a bad beta. Not to say that Diablo 3 is a bad game. I think this was a really short, limited, bad beta. You can play through it over and over again. You can play with different characters and such. But the amount of content you get, I don't care. I mean, I know Diablo. You play things over and over again anyway. But it's a little bit more than what they offer. 30 minutes seems more like a demo to me than a beta. So it felt packaged like a beta. Like a demo. It felt packaged like a demo more than a beta. It was very crisp, clean. It was bug free. I didn't have problems. But it felt like a demo. If I would have been told it was a demo, I would have had a totally different perspective. So that was a case of failed expectations on my part. But overall, guys, the game is actually pretty clean. The interface is very tight. The voice acting is top notch. I mean, you can't get much better than the voice acting. The lore is very, very good, as Diablo always is. Very interesting story. The problem I have with Diablo at the moment, and I'm still on the fence. People ask me, "Bwana, you gonna buy Diablo? You talk about Path of Exile all the time. You talk like you're not gonna buy Diablo. If you're not gonna buy Diablo, I'm unsubscribing. I'm unsubscribing if you're gonna not buy Diablo. I can't take it. You can not buy Diablo. I can't listen to a guy not buy." Relax. I'm kind of on the fence because Diablo is taking a very, very casual approach to this genre. Much like what we saw in the MMORPG realm with World of Warcraft. Turned out to be a very, very good idea on Blizzard's part to do that because they got cajillion subscribers. So that leads me to believe that Diablo 3 is going to sell very well. Even if they wouldn't have did this, it would have sold very well because it's been anticipated for 10 years now? People have been waiting on this game for 10 years. Not exactly 10 years. A little bit less than 10 years. So, yeah. We've seen clones come out like Torchlight. We see Path of Exile out there. People love this type of genre, this action dungeon crawl. I call them dungeon crawlers. But the issue is, it's very, very casual feeling. It makes things very easy. And Diablo is a game that I feel should be difficult because it was one of the games that I played a lot in college when I was in college because I'm that old. And it was very hard to do some things because you get in these situations where you just can't live unless you do something really, really cool. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. So I'm not gonna let this demo / beta be my indicator of buying this title or not. I'm still gonna research it, read up on what they have, and make a sound choice based on that because this left a sour taste in my mouth. If I were to base it on this, I would not buy it. So we'll go off some more information and see how it goes. But in the meantime, I'm playing a healthy amount of Path of Exile. PathofExile.com. Very, very good Diablo clone. It is a straight Diablo clone. They got no shame at all. Straight Diablo clone, but it is a very, very well put together game. So you should check that out as well. It's going to be free to play when it comes out. But Diablo 3 beta went public this weekend. A lot of people had fun. A lot of people disagreed with my assessment that it was too short. But like I said, people have been waiting for 10 years. So check this out, guys. This is over on escapistmagazine.com, but it pretty much was this entire weekend. And I think this is the last beta before they actually go live, which is May 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be coming out in a couple weeks. So we'll be able to check out full game, and I'll be able to give you a full take on it if I purchase it. So check it out. Next started. Let's talk about Counter-Strike Global Offensive. A lot of beta keys went out for this game recently. Valve unleashed the gates, and a lot of us got beta keys for the first time for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And it's a remake, it's a reboot, if you will, of a very, very popular PC shooter. Counter-Strike is synonymous with PC gaming right now. If you talk to just about anybody who talks about PC gaming or knows a little bit about PC gaming, if there's any type of discussion or any type of debate, Counter-Strike almost always comes up. Because people say, well, PC games have longevity. You can have a game that's built in 1998 and it can still be played in 2012. Just look at Counter-Strike. Using arguments a lot. Because Counter-Strike is very, very much still played. Competitive esports, big in Europe, much more so than it is here in the States. And it's been around a long time. One of the first team-based shooters that I played a lot of back in the day. So Counter-Strike Global Offensive has some tall orders to fill. It's got a lot to. It's got a lot of expectations to fill, if you will. A lot of people got. I don't know. Counter-Strike fans are really fickle. They're fickle. If you look at the just the factions of people that play Counter-Strike 1.6 versus Counter-Strike Source, if you were to hand them swords, they'd stab each other. There's a very, very few people that could play both of those games and live happily ever after. Very picky about things in their beloved Counter-Strike franchise. Like, oh, I don't play Source. I don't play Source at all. Source is garbage. If I were to take garbage and then throw said garbage in a garbage can, it would smell better than Counter-Strike Source. And they'd be like, oh, no, Counter-Strike 1.6. Counter-Strike 1.6 is garbage. Counter-Strike 1.6 has terrible graphics. Counter-Strike 1.6 has terrible weapons. Counter-Strike 1.6 is dated. Counter-Strike, they go into that loop. But Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a fresh take on the series. It's very different than the typical Counter-Strike. When I played it, what it felt like to me was more of it felt like Left 4 Dead's mechanics, because Valve does make Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, but different. Not exactly Left 4 Dead. It's kind of its own thing. And they introduced a new mode called Arsenal mode, which is essentially gun game. You ever played gun game? It was like birthed from Counter-Strike, basically. Oh, look, it's gun game. I shall call you gun game. Come with me, gun game. Burp, gun game. Good job, gun game. It birthed gun game. But now it's called Arsenal mode. And it's very fun. It's very, very fun. If you get yourself a Counter-Strike Global Offensive key, you got to play Arsenal mode. But then you can go back to the traditional modes. They got a lot of maps on there. They got both Dust 2. They got Militia. They got Office. They got Aztec. I think they got Militia. Lots and lots of classic maps. So we're talking about something different. This story says that Global Offensive SDK is to drop 3 months after the full title. Now, one of the big things with Counter-Strike is the mods, the maps. The gun game, basically came from a mod. Anybody who plays any Valve games knows that they're very, very friendly to mods, customizations, skins, that kind of stuff. This game is going to be no different. But the thing is, it's going to come out 3 months after the full release. And one of the tidbits that should pay attention to is that the SDK will allow players to mod and create their own maps. But they said that they're going to include a few maps from Counter-Strike 1.6 that didn't make it into Source. All right. This is Gabe Newell talking in a podcast. We're going to talk a little bit more about this podcast, 7-Day Cooldown, where Gabe was basically saying a lot of the stuff that, spawned 10 billion blog posts. But the SDK is going to drop 3 months after full release, and I think if you haven't tried it yet. Try to find keys. A lot of people are giving them away on Twitter. I think a couple people in our community found them on Twitter. Twitch.tv is doing a giveaway on their Facebook page of 200 keys. It's a contest, so it's not like you can just get a key. And lots of other outlets have given away keys. I've been following the Counter-Strike Global Offensive keyword on Twitter, and it's like just keys been given out left and right. So check this story out, guys. This is over on joystick.com. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I think you definitely should give it a try. Even if you hate its source, it's definitely worth a try.
Please support Game Chat with Bwana by turning off your ad blocking software.
Okay. Let's talk about our next story. We're going to talk about the Gaben again. That's a picture that's above all pictures. The Gaben has spoken. Valve's Gabe Newell goes on record and talks about EA and Origin. And you know, we've talked about this on previous shows of Game Chat with Bwana, where the whole debacle, the whole conflict between EA and Origin has been in the forefront of a lot of blog posts. Namely the competition. And then when they started to pull titles, when Origin started to pull titles from Steam, you know, it became a really big story. So it comes to no surprise that Gabe goes on record and says a lot of what he says in here. According to the article, they said he was blunt, but I don't think he was blunt. It was just sounded factual. This is a quote from Gabe and what he thought about Origin. And he says, they have a lot of work to do to get where they need to be and where I, as a customer, would want them to be. So they have a lot of work to do to get where they need to be and where I, as a customer, would want them to be. So basically, he's calling them young. They got a lot of work to do. When Steam first came out, they were the same predicament. A lot of us wouldn't touch Steam with a 10-foot pole because all we were saying was DRM, 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 you know, and then we got over it. He was then asked if Origin is currently doing anything particularly well. They said Newell stammered on the air and then offered a long silent pause. He says, I don't want to dodge the question. I don't think they're doing anything super well yet. I like how he put super on there. They have a bunch of smart people working on it, but I think they're still playing catch up. Put ketchup on hot dogs. To a lot of people who have been working in the space for a while, I think they're recognizing what the challenges are with building and scaling out this kind of system. So, yeah, they're young. The system doesn't scale as well as Steam. There's a lot of challenges. They don't have a lot of games yet. Something that Steam has has a lot of experience with. So, and then he goes on to say, that's not to say we won't build stuff in the future that's useful to software developers or to gamers, but they haven't done that yet. So he's saying that they're going to eventually get there if they keep, doing what they're doing, but they haven't got there yet. That's a very safe PR correct statement. Then they asked him about the games on Steam. He gave the same thing. We love to have their games on Steam. We think their customers will be happy if their games were on Steam. We tell them that on a regular basis. That I didn't know. I think EA wants to take their shot at building their own alternative to Steam. You don't say. And they're successful at that. And if they're successful at that, and their customers like that, then that's great. They're great. So, nothing new here. Gabe's stating the obvious. But it goes to show that they are taking EA seriously. EA and Origin is not there yet. I think we all knew that. But they're adding more stuff. I mean, every year that goes by, we're going to see drastic changes on all these digital distribution platforms. A lot of companies are buying up other companies to do digital distribution because it is a business that is large, that is huge. And I don't think a lot of analysts are properly tracking how much money goes into digital downloads. It's a really, 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 really big market. And Gabe recognized that back in 2003, 4-ish when Steam hit. That's why they're so successful today. Check it out, guys. This is over on GamePolitics.com, and they got the details over there. Now, let's talk about Brink. What? What are you talking about? Bwana? I remember Brink from 2005. Why are you talking about stories that are so old? Why is Brink even on your tongue? You should not even utter the words Brink without first slapping yourself 65,536 times in your nose. Bwana, I'm unsubscribing. I'm sorry, buddy. I've been following you since 1934, but I'm unsubscribing. You can't talk about Brink. Watch me. Brink has made some money. Did you know that Brink made money? People consider Brink to be a failure. And I was one of the ones that was really hyped about the game. Played it. I had fun with it. But it had game-breaking bugs. Like, the sound would just stop. And you'd be playing in total silence. You're like, you got to restart the game. They had these bugs that make you quit. And if you keep quitting, you're not going to restart the game. That's the main thing that happened. Community kind of died a little bit. But they made money. I read this from another article, which kind of was from another source. And they gave it a very misleading title. And they basically said that Brink made like so much money in revenue. Here it is. It says, with splash damage, we finished Brink. And it's estimated to have sold more than 2.5 million copies worldwide, which in retail would mean that it generated around $120 to $140 million of revenue. Brink made money? Brink made money? But then he goes on to continue and say, but of course, as an independent video game developer, we don't earn that kind of revenue as we're not the publisher of the title. Oh. But we can see that there was potential to serve our fans, blah, blah, blah. So he's talking about this new idea of war chest that the company is building. War chest is going to be an idea where they're going to build AAA level titles that are free to play. A concept that's unheard of at Game Chat with Bwana because we never, ever, 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 we never talk about that here. Free to play, AAA, no. That just never happens. Brink stuff. But anyway, this whole article, it's a very, very long article where he goes into like details of what they're going to do and how I think they're going to be moving towards the Unreal Engine for a lot of their games and how they're streamlining and going towards that idea of AAA really good titles. Like I talked about Blacklight Retribution and Tribes of Sin are like my two titles that I use as examples of that, where these are titles that were in the past you would pay money for. And they're free to play. They're just that high a quality game. So if they're gonna shoot for titles like that, not deliver subpar titles that are free to play, then hey, it might be a success. But this quote from Brink was very interesting. That they made all that money, but we don't know how much of that is profit. No way to tell. So check this story out, guys. This is over on GameOfSutra.com. They got the details. And over there. That concludes all the stories I have for this week's stories. Visit our forums at Bwana.tv-forums. We're going to go ahead and use the business stories right now. We're going to talk about this stuff.
Do you love Game Chat? Are you looking for a way to show your appreciation? Become a Bwana.tv premium subscriber. Check out the details at Bwana.tv/donate.
All right, guys. So we only had 6 stories tonight because of our shortened week. So I don't expect a whole lot up on the forum as well. But we're doing it anyway because it's Game Chat Bwana. First story comes from Nicholas Fun Stuff. Oh, head over to Bwana.tv/forum. Sign up. Join our community. We're cool. Nicholas Fun Stuff has the first story. Battlefield 3 server patch released. Fixes anti-air missiles. That's a gun that shoots missiles. Called a rocket launcher or some such. DICE has released a new Battlefield 3 server server patch that brings a few fixes to the game. Includes a fix for AAA. Oh, AAA. I was gonna say AAA titles. Yes. DICE has released a new Battlefield server patch that brings a few fixes to the game, including a fix for AA missiles and an additional fix for a MAV elevator glitch. Oh, I never saw that one. There's also mention of a tweak to tank armor strength. So they got some other stuff in here. Fixed AA missiles, anti-air missiles, AA, like the battery. I don't know any military terms. I'm dumb. Fixed AA. I did it again. Fixed anti-air. Yes, sir. Fixed anti-air missiles not doing damage to vehicles moving at very high speeds. Fixed the TV missile. Tank armor strength got tweaked. The MAV elevatoring. That's a word? That's the Urban Dictionary. I don't know if that's elevatoring. The up and down of the up and down of look of scanning an attractive person. No. I knew Urban Dictionary would fail. This is there's Merriam. There's Webster. Elevatoring. What? Are you serious? Do I have an audio? I don't see an audio anywhere. Let's go to dictionary.com and see. No dictionary results on dictionary.com, but it's on Merriam-Webster. No sound, unfortunately. I want to hear somebody say it. Elevatoring. Okay, MAV elevatoring fix, round 2, proning to MAV will now disable it. Archon, admin.say command can send to individual players and a few other stuff. Patch can be downloaded by server owners. So thanks for that story, Nicholas Run Stuff. Use the rope. Use the rope 2 is dated again. I did a new window like a derp. Sniper Ghost Warrior. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 was scheduled to come out March 20th, my birthday. But as we all know, a good sniper requires patience. He didn't use the rope to get down there. Adaptability and more development time. Sniper Ghost Warrior 2 is now set to launch August 21st. PC, PS3, Xbox 360. If you guys don't know, I was gifted this game by... Who gave me this? I don't remember who exactly gave me this. I was gifted this by a community member. I played it on stream and we just laughed and laughed and laughed because it was just so bad. Oh my goodness. And the audio, the voiceovers were just, oh man. It was funny. So that's why we used the rope to get down there, part 2, because there was one part where he was like, use the rope to get down there. Okay. And it was really awkward scene. But they're actually making the sequel to this, which is very, very surprising. Oh man, if you guys played this, some of you may like it. I haven't talked to anybody that actually likes it. So I don't know where they're getting money from. Obviously my friends fund all of gaming. Thanks for the story, Nicholas Fun Stuff. Next stories come from Fish Twit. Valve's employee handbook is online for all to see. I saw this and I didn't feel like reading it. That's kind of bad. Because I saw this and I was like, I don't feel like reading all this. But they got some pages here. Valve is self-funded. We haven't ever brought in outside financing since our earliest days, blah, blah, blah. A Valve representative. The handbook is actually legitimate. So it's a PDF version. It is online. And It said, if it is real, then I would direct your attention to page 22 where you can see a guy wearing a Half-Life 3 shirt. But there's some other tidbits in there, apparently, that they're pretty funny. I saw a Reddit thread on it. People were cracking up. But I looked at it. I was like, in the 10 minutes I had to do stories, I was like, I don't have time to read all this. But it's good to see that the companies out there are self-funded like Valve. Have good relationships with their customers. They're not perfect. They do a lot of things wrong. But it's hard to hate Valve. They have some kind of magic stuff where if you hate them, it goes away after 6 months. It's hard to hate them. Thanks for the story, Fish Twit. Valve confirms Dota 2 will be free, but not in a traditional way, according to Gabe Newell. It's probably from that podcast. I knew it, 7-day cooldown. They must have some good questions there. Let's see. Valve co-founder has confirmed that Dota 2 will be a free-to-play game as expected, but also mentions the payment structure will have some twists. No specific details will be given beyond that. He did hint that whatever payment structure winds up being incorporated could somehow separate well-behaved skilled players from skilled total jerks. That's kind of tied to the payment system. So yeah, this whole idea of the Dota 2, if you guys come from LoL, their version of the tribunal where they punish idiot players. There's a lot of things coming up about, their queue times and a lot of stuff. I didn't know it was going to be actually tied to the payment structure. If idiots just have to pay a monthly fee. Oh, boy. He also mentioned that aside from Valve-produced content in Dota 2, the game will likely include community-created items the way TF2 does. Yes, that's a very, very good thing. As well as potential items like a Skyrim mount as a Dota 2 item courier. So we're going to see a lot of crossover items in Dota 2, as we see in all Valve games. So this is good to hear. Thanks for that story, Fish Tweet. Next story comes from Christian Newell. I'm going to do a quick refresh. Researchers video games blameless for Norwegian mass murders. So apparently there was this mass murder, in 2011. During his trial, told the court that he once played Modern Warfare for 17 hours straight, using such games to work out the police response and his base escape strategy. And I think I remember covering this. If a player plays violent video games then commits acts of violence, it doesn't prove that the video games caused the violence. You don't say. There could be no link whatsoever. Or it might be the other way around, that a person's violent tendencies drew them to violent video games in the first place. You don't say. Dr. Phil, this guy is not. This is actually Christopher Chambers, Senior Research Fellow at Cardiff University School of Psychology. Chris, we need to have a long talk. Certain things I can share with you about that topic. Sina Faisal, consultant forensic psychiatrist at Britain's University of Oxford, points to a 2008 paper in the Journal of Criminal Justice describes two experiments. These studies I'm a little bit skeptic of. But yeah, the researchers believe that the video games didn't cause the mass murderers. And, there's a lot of influential things that come into play. That's all I'll say about that. If you want to blame it on one thing, good. I mean, it's going to be very, very hard to do. There's always a combination of things that contribute. But, if we had perfect 2020 hindsight vision, we could point to that one thing that put him on the path of exile. Check it out, guys. This is over on GameFront.com. Thanks for the story, Christian Newell. Arkham City Game of the Year edition to feature Harley Quinn DLC. Yes. Harley Quinn DLC. Let's see. I still haven't played this game. I need to play. Too many games. The Game of the Year edition include all announced DLC and previously released DLC, the full game, and a movie for Americans and Canadians titled Batman Year One. Harley Quinn's revenge mission sends players back to Arkham City to face their final challenge, as they interchange between players as both Batman and Robin. Gamers must utilize each character's unique combat investigative skills to uncover Harley's vengeful plan and shut the gates on the urban mega prison forever. So there's a trailer on it. But if you get the Game of the Year edition, if you haven't bought it, Game of the Year editions are always the best buy because they include all the DLC and generally are priced at a discount. So Harley Quinn DLC is included in the Game of the Year edition. Thanks for the stories, Christian Nomel. Terra fans launch petition after EU version is censored. Yeah, I think it was denied in our mumble the other night. He was talking about he's like, what level do I get actual clothes on my characters? Terra has a lot of strange armor that gets stronger as the least amount of clothes you have on. It's very weird. Terra fans have launched an online petition after discovering that the European version of the Master Mode playing game is censored. Terra, which is an open beta, and ends today for us, is rated mature in the US, and in Europe is rated 12. I did not know that. See, it's rated mature in the US, so that's why I think a lot of the stuff stayed, but I'm not sure why it was rated down to 12 plus. We as members of the Terra community, this is the petition I'm assuming, feel that this time you have crossed the line, reads the petition's manifesto. The community was patient for a very, very long time with your incompetence and childish games. You have played with the boundaries of how much the community can take. Counting all the false information that was given to us, false because now you are changing almost every one of your previous statements. So this step was sadly necessary. Let's see, in a post on the Terra Europe forum, lead community manager Raven explained that the slider to adjust the level of blood in the game was removed in the latest build. This step was sadly necessary due to some changes which were introduced in the latest content update to Terra, which increased the amount of blood on certain details. Thus, we faced an issue with our current age rating. I still don't know why. I still don't know why the rating was dropped. That's the part that puzzles me. I know some people do that to sell more. He says, please be aware that we are already producing the box and pre-selling copies of the game with an active rating of 12 plus. I don't know, man. Different cultures. That's all I got to say about that. Because if I had a 12-year-old, he wouldn't be playing Terra. So that's just the way I do things. But I'm not gonna talk down on other people how they do stuff because that's not my place right now. We're starting to inform you now about when the OPT patch, blah 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 blah. European fans are now in an uproar with some vowing to cancel pre-orders and others hoping to play games on U.S. servers. Eurogamer has contacted Frogster for comment. So Terra is a very mature MMO, probably the one of the more MMOs out there that has like really adult content. So the fact that I don't know about the just removing the blood. It's just the rating, the age rating, which befuzzles me. I don't know why they would do that, but maybe I'll read it somewhere else and read as to their rationale. But that's a very interesting article. Thanks for that, Mr. Emmerdale. Guild Wars 2 developer has plans for literally years to come. For literally years to come. Oh. Guild Wars 2 developer has plans for literally years to come. For years to come. Guild Wars 2 isn't out. It doesn't have a release date, but already developer ArenaNet has development plans in our back pocket for literally years to come. This includes knowing what number of high-level features will be in expansion content for years to come. For years to come. Senior Vice President Randall Price revealed that Eurogamer is part of our larger tour. You may not realize this, but we have had developer plans in our back pocket for literally years to come. Short-term goals include that very important pre-purchase that began 10th April, blah, blah. Beta weekends are also important, blah, blah, blah. And then we've got medium-term goals, explain price, and the medium-term, blah. And then there's the long-term, blah. And then we know a number of our high-level features that would, blah, blah. Look, concluded price. Even from our standpoint, we've got years of work, of great work, that players are going to be able to enjoy for years to come. We're launching a service. You don't launch a box, blah, 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 blah. The question when Guild Wars 2 is going to be blah, blah, blah. But when will Guild Wars 2 comes out? In years to come. Thanks for the story, Emmerdale. Next story comes from Mr. Sweetcake. Finding an edge against Steam. Finding edge against Steam. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Jason Statham. That's not a gaming article. Oh, all right. Finding an edge. Against Steam. GameStop now offers 1,500 digital PC games in its store. I did not know that. I did know that they did have some. Steam is top dog when it comes to the digital distribution of PC games, and for many people, it's the one and one only way to purchase PC games. Blah 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 blah. Although it was maligned and blah blah. Yeah. Okay, I can't read this out loud. I'm gonna read it to myself because I'm running out of voice. Oh, Impulse. That's what it is. All right. So GameStop is also a player in this space. They bought Impulse. That's what it is. The company today announced that it now has a catalog of over 1,500 downloadable PC games. And they're competing with Steam and Origin and Green Man Gaming and a bunch of other companies. Lots of people are doing downloads. So it's definitely a heated space. But I can see where they're trying to find an edge over Steam, given the article. I don't know if Origin's even trying to do that. It sounds like Origin's really just pushing their games. And I don't think Steam is really pushing their games as much as Origin is. Even though when the sales come around, they do. But we'll see how this Impulse turns out over time now that they're under the umbrella of GameStop. It's going to be interesting to see. Okay. Star Command demonstrates how quickly Kickstarter funding can disappear. This is one of these Kickstarters that just got canceled. How exactly... Actually... Is it the one that got canceled? I don't know. How exactly did the $36,000 pledged to this iOS title Kickstarter get spent? Star Command, iOS game described as a cross between game dev story and science fiction, was seeking $20,000 last September. It surpassed the mark. And a new update posted on Kickstarter reveals that the money could disappear in a hurry. The update provides a look at how that money has been spent since the Kickstarter came to a close on October 6th. Immediately, $5,000 was gone. $2,000 didn't come through because of problems with funds being transferred. $3,000 or so went to Kickstarter itself. Wow. I had no idea Kickstarter took a kickback. These are the jokes, folks. Whose Amazon payment system is used to pledge money to projects. That means nearly $37,000 you might expect to be spent on game development is now $32,000. And after prize fulfillment, that figure drops to $22,000. Wow. That is a lot of overhead. Man, Kickstarter's got a... Wow. As with many Kickstarters, among the rewards for pledging were various digital items that are fairly easy to distribute. This isn't the one that was canceled. I was thinking about something else. Of the remaining $22,000, $16,000 was spent on things like iPads. What? What? Wait a minute. $16,000 was spent on iPads? How many people are in this dev shop? I would really like to know how many people are in this dev shop, because that's a lot of money to be spending on hardware. Yeah, a PAX East showing, poster art, and music. Yeah. That'll take up the other $10,000. I don't even that's a lot of money to bundle into PAX East showing and iPads and posters and music. A lot of money. Anyway, I would love to see a pie graph of that. As the other $6,000 wasn't spent, about a third ended up being taxed as income. Something other Kickstarter projects are encouraged to avoid having happen. This resulted in about 4,000 being left over. Although it's generous to even say that much is above figures fail to account for in smaller expenses. The question becomes, in the benefit of retrospect, what if they had done differently? Part of the 16,000 went to attorneys. Oh. Well, there you go. Well, there you go. The iPads are obviously attorneys. Just blew my mind away. I just didn't get that. They got walking iPads that are attorneys. I got it. Okay. Part of the 16,000 went to attorneys, accountants, startup fees, and attorneys were specifically identified as one possible area that money could have been saved. Yes. Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me as well. That 16 grand. That one stood out a little bit. Let's see. We're a little nervous about our receiver Kickstarter money. We want to make sure the business was set up correctly. So it sounds like they were pretty legit. But this is a very interesting article of how fast that 30, what was the original amount? 36,000, which dwindled instantly to 22,000, which was dropped 16,000. And it was like, we're broke. The Kickstarter, we need more money, man. And I think I talked about this the other week when I said that, all these Kickstarter projects are really taking off. But what's going to happen when somebody fails? What's the repercussions if somebody spends all the money and then they're like, okay, we don't have a product, but we used all the money. And bye, going to the store, get some milk, BRB. What's going to happen when that happens? Very, very interesting article. Thanks for that post. Because I had no idea how that money was divvied up at Kickstarter. Thanks for that, Mr. Sweet Kick. Denied. BioWare really, really wants to maintain the old public player base. Let's see what BioWare is doing. BioWare. Swell Tour is 4 months old. And as it matures, players want to know what the plan is for the future. This month, Ragul Plague Event is a sign that BioWare still has a few surprises up their sleeves. But there are still question marks over the future of the game and what will keep players logging in during the wait between updates. It's exactly this kind of scenario that breeds speculation, most of the sky is falling variety. We spoke to BioWare's Daniel Erickson about the future of the game. BioWare claims that subscriber numbers haven't dropped, but concurrent users at peak times have. This is something I mentioned on the Mumble the other night. I was like, why do people pay for WoW accounts and don't play the game? Because we were talking about how they got a lot of subscribers. I'm like, there's a giant chunk of that subscriber base that just hasn't canceled their subscription but don't play at all. Like, how do people do that? This, Erickson says, is the reason why players are noticing a lot of light server populations, and also why mergers are on the cards but not a priority. Now, see, Erickson, it's hard for me to believe that. According to Erickson, they're doing anything and everything to bring that concurrent users number up. Nothing is off the table when it comes to making sure our communities are strong. This game was hype beyond hype. Hype for years as being the WoW killer. It's going to take Star Wars and make it what the Star Wars galaxy should have been. It's going to be the best ever. Star Wars, the Old Republic, is going to kill everything. And now we're saying the same thing about Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2 is going to kill WoW. It's going to be the best thing ever. Since sliced bread is going to be better than Star Wars Galaxies. It's going to be all kinds of awesome. The hype machine is dangerous because things fail. But I'm having a hard time believing that statement because it's hard to find a developer or anybody represent a company that will admit, when they don't have to, that will admit that their subscriber numbers are dropping. You better believe there's a dashboard up at BioWare somewhere that shows cancellations versus new activations. I don't know where SWTOR is going to go from here. With Guild Wars 2 coming out, with Terra coming out, with all these free-to-play MMOs coming out, like Perfect World and, Firefall. A lot of people are taking the free-to-play route, And Guild Wars 2, their biggest message is no subscriber fee. People are going to start to wise up, man. They're going to say, well, if I don't have to pay for this, I'm not going to. I'm going to miss you, Star Wars, The Old Republic, but goodbye. But Star Wars, The Old Republic does have really high production value, which kind of can be a double-edged sword because you got really, really good cutscenes and really good dialogue and really good voice acting that took a long time to develop. So when you need to make an expansion or a patch or an update, it's going to take even longer to do that. So this article brings up a good point. How do you keep the players coming back in between those updates? It's a really, really good point. But check this out. This is over on PC. Check it out, guys. PC Gamer. Thanks for that. Denied. Half-Life 3 news delayed because of the twist and turn, says Gabe. I remember reading this. Half-Life 3 Episode 3 silence due to development twists and turns. So basically, what Gabe said in this same podcast, it's like Gabe, that podcast sparked a lot of blog posts. It says, we'd like to be super transparent about the future of Ricochet 2, Half-Life 3. But the problem is that the twists and turns we're going through will probably drive people more crazy than being silent about it. So apparently they're in a decision loop, if you will. The design process of gaming can be very maddening. When you got something as popular and with rich lore as Half-Life, they got to be very careful. So Valve is the type of game developer that will be careful. They'll release it when it's done. They don't care about delays. They're making money. Fans, however, you got people that started playing Half-Life when they were in their teens, and they're going to be in their 40s before they see the sequel. We don't know when it's going to come out. But yeah, Gabe is basically saying we're not going to share what we're doing because, they're probably going crazy over the decisions. So they don't want to make the fan base. They don't want to fuel the fire of the fan base, which I agree with. So if you don't have anything to report, don't report anything at all. So they probably I bet the Half-Life 3 room is full of blood and Twinkies and Whoppers and Twizzlers. Thanks for the story, Denied. Big MacBook. Find out if your PC meets Max Payne 3 minimum requirements. 35 gigabytes of space. Pretty hefty. Max Payne 3. Bearded Payne is bearded. Let's see. System specs. Recommended and required processors. It'll run on an Intel dual-core 2.4 gigahertz or an AMD dual-core. Wow, that is kind of high. This is recommended. This is not minimum. Or i7 3930 6-core. Their recommended is an i7 3930K 6-core at 3 gigahertz. Or FX 8150 8-core at 3.6 gigahertz. Woo! Wow. What is Max Payne doing in this game? What is he doing? Max, we got to talk. You got to stop killing people's computers. That is a hefty recommended system. I've never seen anything that aggressive. Even Crysis wasn't that aggressive. Ooh, these are some serious process. That what I just said out loud that's pretty. Wow. Check it out. Joystick. Thanks for story. Mattberg. Hawken is getting a comic. Yay, Hawken. You and your comicness. I remember reading this. Comics and Joe LaFavi making that happen. Up until this point, has dazzled us with Unreal, blah, blah, blah. When the release is about a year out, we got a few questions, blah, blah, blah. And this is a long interview. But they are going to have a comic. So I think I'll just leave it there. Thanks for that story, Techniffin. Uncharted footage turning into a bridge movie trilogy. This is a YouTube video, which some guy made. Morphin APG. I remember reading about this. Has done a pretty awesome thing by taking each Uncharted game, pulling out only the most essential parts and compiling them together to make a movie of all three games. If you're into Uncharted, this is worth a watch. It's really good. It's actually really good, and it gives you sort of some background on where the games are and where they came from and the characters and all that stuff. So it's a great YouTube video. Check it out. Thanks for those stories, Tech Niffin. Sarams. I thought you already posted one. No, that was Nick. Tribe's next class update, Raid and Pillage, releases tomorrow. Now, this is very, very recent because I didn't see this in my news list. Yeah, 8:50 What the? That's not even happening yet. How is it 8:50 p.m. on 4/23? That's in the future. Unless this is not in the U.S. There's only one time zone in the world. This dude looks like he has an eye patch. And he looks like a cross between a Space Marine and Sean Connery. Space Marine. The Raider class is next in line to receive a more buyable or unlockable gear in Tribes Ascend. That'll include 2 new skins, the Plasma Gun, the Cluster... Oh. They're slowing down the SMG. I might actually prefer that. Pricing for the new content is unannounced. Jump aside. They picked a good class to feature because the Raider is unappreciated. It's the best dueling class in Tribes because you get a shield pack and you become a tank. Just ridiculous. And you got grenades and you got explosives and you got an awesome SMG. The recipe for success is right there. But I'll check out this video after the show. I haven't seen it yet. Can't wait for it. I got my monies ready. I'm throwing my money at the screen, Tribes, and nothing's happening. So this will... Oh, actually, this is going live tomorrow. Okay. Wait a minute. You can't go live tomorrow. I have other games to play. No. You can't do that. You can't. You just can't. I got a lot to do tomorrow. I can't play that. All right. Game studio spared from Sony layoffs. Remember reading this too. Sony will not bear the axe into its game division. So we talked about the layoffs. So they're not going to hit the gaming studios. We've been hearing about gaming studio closings for the past couple months now. But he says he's going to spare them due to them TV people taking all the money. That 6% reduction, that's what we talked about last week, 10,000 employees. But they're going to spare the game studios, so you don't have to worry about Sony-owned game studios going under just yet. But they may see some layoffs. That doesn't mean the game studios aren't going to see layoffs. They probably just won't close. So, thank you for that. So, Roms, next story. Arma 3 games 19 square kilometers of island real estate. Trailer and screenshots. Arma 3, 19 square kilometers of island real estate. That's pretty big. Announcing the new area, creative director Ivan Bukta said, "I'm sure players will love the scenery, the military camps. Arma is it takes a special breed of gamer to play Arma. If you ever play Arma, if you haven't played Arma, just forget everything you know about military shooters because it'll help. It'll help the process. Very realistic, lots of things to manage. The graphics are usually really, really good. But yeah, the screenshots look really good too. Let me check this one out. That looks like a real picture. That literally looks like a real picture. My goodness. I can't even see the pixelization. That looks like a real picture. Great job. Might be one to pick up just to run around and look around. Thanks for that story, Hajimoto. Arma 3, big areas. All right, MLG Spring Arena was this weekend. We got Sir Soapy here with We got Sir Soapy here with our spoiler. And DRG, my favorite Zerg, wins MLG StarCraft Spring Arena. My favorite Zerg wins. DRG's the man. Sitting next to the man. Weekend attack 10 battles included. Marine King Prime. Marine King's like in every finals now. Marine King and DRG faced off twice in the past two MLG events. DRG was forced to take the silver in both times, and now the Zerg DRG comes back with a vengeance, finally defeating his rival. So he won $5,000. Man, these guys are racking up some money. Marine King got $3,000, and some cold guys got third and fourth. MC got fifth. Let's see, Parting and Huck and Violet to round out the bottom four. Congratulations, DRG. DRG for the win. All right, thanks for that story. And we got DreamHack. Thorzane wins DreamHack. I remember reading about this as well. Thorzane. Any Swedish? Yeah, Swedish Terran Marcus Thorzane won the DreamHack Open Stockholm, his hometown. This marks his second major tournament victory and his first after a long run without a major title after his glorious TSL 3 championship. So everybody loves Thorzane. He's like that one player that you're not allowed to hate. And if you do hate, your eyebrows will combust. I tried it. He had a shirt I didn't like, and I was like, I don't like that. Ow. I smell burning eyebrows. It was pretty bad. Thorzane wins DreamHack Open. He took home 7,851 euros. Congratulations. That's quite a purse. It's about 20 grand? Almost $20,000, I think. Congratulations. Okay, Murray, the Geek Squad who rescued a gaming classic. At the end of March, Prince of Persia creator Jordan Mechner found the source code for the game's... Oh, yeah, I remember reading about this. It was on computer disks. It said, but the data was saved on computer disks that were more than 20 years old. I have some floppies in the garage that are older than that, too. Would it be safe to put them in the old disc reader to risk losing the only copy of a classic game? Sounds like a job for Tony Diaz and Jason Scott, two computer collectors and archivers who helped Mechner pull the data from the disk and in the process save Prince of Persia. Yeah, they helped save the game. Prince of Persia loaded fine, the source code is safe, and Mechner has made it available to anyone who wants it. Ooh. Thanks for that story, Murray. For Kirby's 20th anniversary, have a all right, I'll refresh. Okay. The next Call of Duty title will be revealed on May 1st. May 1st, COD reveal. Black Ops 2, which we probably already know everything because of all the leaks. They can't keep anything secret over there at Treyarch, Activision. People. Activision's new teaser graphic for the next Call of Duty is a bit less exciting, but it does give some solid details on when to expect the reveal, asking fans to tune into the 2K playoffs on TNT on May 1st. If you don't do basketball, tune in here to Destruction Blop. So we can look forward to Call of Duty this coming Tuesday? Yes, May 1st is Tuesday. That's Terra's release day. Too many games. All right. Thanks for that story, Murray. Let's do another refresh really quick. And if that be all, guess what time it is, y'all? Guess what time it is? Title Time is where you guys come up with snazzy titles for the show that we just did just now. What I just talked about, that right there. You come up with snazzy titles. We vote on the best ones. And you win accolades. You don't win physical stuff because I'm broke. Let's do it. Let's go. Okay. Let's see him. Starting off at the top. Counter-Strike passes Go, collects $200. Gabe, Blizzard Beta Bummers. Gabe steams up EA's Origin. 35 gigabyte at max is a pain. Splash Damage is on the brink of free triple play. All things old are Newell again. Sony globally counter-strikes the PS Vita homebrew. Kickstarter kicks back for years to come. Games are Sony in the Amazon. Amaze at the sales. Honest Gabe. Adhesive Game Hawkins a comic. The Great Brink Job. Dota will be free for literally years to come. Speaking of beta, Diablo shall appear. Game Chat is elevating to cult status. PoE crawls all over D3. Wow, I messed that up. Path of Exile crawls all over Diablo 3. Blizzard, it's spelled DEMO. Sony TVs, Brink equals profit, madness. D3 makes gamers twist and turn to PoE. Urban Dictionary Cowboy. EA's Origin is 12+. Boring beta puts Diablo on the path of exile. CSGO and Diablo, beta or demo. I lost my place. All right. Guild Wars 2 gives us more game chat with Bwana titles for years to come. Path of Diablo, what? This week in Game Newell. Raiding and pillaging without Bwana. Source and 1.6 are offensive to me. Gabe lets off some steam at EA. Sony Wars, Return of the Hackers. Rivik took the path of exile for years to come. AA missiles, they keep going and going and going. Beta now means demo, beta. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a Raider update today. Bwana runs out of steam while running on impulse. Sacrifices must be made for iPads. SWTOR getting poor. Max brings the pain for your computer. Kano coming to tribes. Origin needs work. Eureka, more exclusives. COD's message to the NBA. Challenge accepted. Lots of titles for what was supposed to be a short show. But you guys squeezed out a lot. Oh, that just sounded nasty. Okay, let's go ahead and find some titles from this wondrous list of things you guys have provided for my face. I like it onto that one. What was that other one? Nope, that's not it. There it is. 2. Might have 4. There's a lot in here. I might have passed it. Picking titles, guys. Picking titles. That made me laugh. Kano comes to trash. We're gonna do 4. Let me find the 4th one. The suspense is killing me. One more. There it is. All right, guys. We got 4 titles. 4 titles. 4 titles. B. George is gonna start the poll. When you want to vote, you can. But I'm going to paste them in the chat in case you want to read them in the chat. And now, hopefully this vote will go well because we're having some Twitch TV chat issues. Hopefully everybody can get their vote in. We'll see how the count is. Let's do it. Yep. Number 1 is Counter-Strike Passes Go. Collect $200. Number 2, Blizzard. It's spelled D-E-M-O. Number 3, Kano Comes to Tribes. And number 4, All Things Old Are Newell Again. Great titles, everyone. Hard to pick 4, but we got it. Yep. All right, 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. I didn't put the names on these. I don't remember who did what. I think it's Fishtwit, Kato's random person, and Fishtwit. That's it. The winner is 2. Congratulations, Blizzard. It's spelled D-E-M-O. Congratulations to Katos. Katos, you win title time. Game Chat Bwana episode 56. Congratulations. And we don't have physical prizes here at Game Chat with Bwana, but what we do have are them bragging rights. Bragging rights where you can tell your friends and family, loved ones, aunts and uncles, grandfathers, grandmothers, people of the like, dogs, cats, hamsters, and lizards. Hey, I just won Game Chat with Bwana title time. Show me the love. Show me the love. Show me the love. And then everybody will go, you are amazing. Can I have your autograph? And then the lizards and the hamsters and everybody will run up and lick your feet. And then you'll be like, yeah, I got all this because of Game Chat with Bwana accolades. Congratulations, Katos. You win Game Chat with Bwana title time. Episode 56 will be called Blizzard. It's spelled D-E-M-O. Congratulations, Mr. Katos. And that concludes episode 56 of Game Chat with Bwana. I want to thank everybody for coming by tonight. We're here at live.bwana.tv and twitch.tv/Bwana. We do this every Monday night, 6 p.m. And follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Bwana. Follow me on Google+. I'm Bwana McCall on Google+. And on Reddit, Bwana TV. Sign up for our forums at bwana.tv/forums. We talk about games and technology and stuff. We even have a beta keys section where we give away beta keys. People got extra beta keys. We give them to each other because we smart and we nice. Got a great group. We got a great group of guys over there on the. Oh, I can't speak. My English has a dirt. We got a great group of. We got a great group of. We have a great group of guys on our forum. Go to bwana.tv/forums to sign up today. I want to thank all of our premium members for subscribing. You can pay $5 a month to get all kinds of accolades and goofy good stuff. Cake next to your name in the Twitch TV chat. You also get some forum benefits with no ads. You get no advertising on the Twitch channel. You also are eligible for our monthly giveaway of a $60 or higher, $60 game that we give away every Friday of the last. We vary it. It's like every month. And we've been giving away these games to these guys. It's just my way of saying thanks to all the premium members. People like to donate to random people on the internet. And I just happen to be one. You can buy Bwana a cup of coffee every now and then by just clicking that subscribe button under the video on the Twitch TV page. Or you can go to bwana.tv/donate. All right, guys, that concludes it. Oh, subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ILBuffer. I posted some Tribes Ascend gameplay videos up there last week. Been posting, probably going to post some. I got to get clips of all these MMOs I've been playing. A lot of boring moments in MMOs, not very action-packed, so it's kind of hard to get clips. Not fun to watch from a YouTube perspective. But follow me on YouTube, guys. And that concludes episode. What episode is this? Episode 56 of Game Chat Bwana. I want to thank everybody for coming by. We will be doing Game Chat with Bwana for years to come. Bye. Cut.